get two topics in today. One is we're going to try to get in two topics today. One is referring to HaRav, and one is referring to Geshamim, sitting in the sukkah or being potter from the sukkah when it's raining. So, Shlomo, which one should we discuss first? What are we discussing?
It came off of HaRav.
Okay, perfect. So let's try to understand the heter of HaRav and the nafkaminas la'alacha because of that heter. The Gemara says a chiddush. The Gemara on the HaRav and Aleph in the SUKKAH says a chiddush din, which you don't have in any other mitzvah. It's like 10 lines from the top. Taner Rabbanon, a Braisa, Hayche Drachem b'yayim p'turim and HaSukkah b'yayim, v'chayavim b'layla. If you're going on the road by day, you potter from the sukkah by day, but you chayav by night. Another halacha, Hayche Drachem b'layla, you're going on the road by night, p'turim and HaSukkah b'layla. You potter from the sukkah by night, v'chayavim b'yayim, you chayav in the day.
Let's put up 146. 146.
If you're going night and day, you potter from the sukkah night and day. If I was the Gemara, which Baruch Hashem I'm not, but I would just write a bekitza. When you're b'shas your derech, you potter. I have to say, if you're going by day, you potter by day, you chayav by night. If you're going by night, you potter by night, you chayav by day. If you're going both, you chayiv by, you potter by both. Why does it have to be so lengthy? And I have a question. Let's say someone goes in the day for 2 hours. He goes to the beach, a half-hour drive. He's there for an hour. He comes back half hour. He's potted the whole day now? He comes back home. He's potted the whole day. Why is he potted? Let me just say, if he's on the road, he's potter. If he's not on the road, he's chayiv. Why does the Gemara make such an interesting member that if you're going by day, you potter by day and you chayiv by night? What's that a chiddush? Yeah, well, obviously you chayiv by night. You're not traveling. Why should you be potter? What's going on over here? So let's first try to understand what's the ptur. So let's see Rashi. Rashi says, Hayche drachem b'yayim p'turim and HaSukkah b'yayim. Zok Rashi. D'chsiv b'sukkah is teishvu ke'en yeshivas beisai. Kishem shekal hashana einoi nimna mileches b'derech v'schayra. Just like a whole year. You don't stop yourself from going on a business trip. You go on a business trip, you leave your house. So too, kach kol yimei sachag she'eino yantiv. Any day that's not yantiv, which means v'chal ha'moed, le'yetzicha ha'kasav l'menaya, the pasuk is not there, it's going to stop you. Okay, interesting Rashi. Rashi says that on yantiv, you don't have this heter, right? You don't travel on yantiv, therefore you don't have the heter on yantiv to go on a business trip. Okay, that's needed in Masechta Sukkah Daf Chavav and Aleph. That's done. HILCHOS yantiv. You don't go on trips on yantiv. Why do we need to come and explain that on yantiv? And I have a different question. Let's say this guy did go on a trip on yantiv. He didn't follow the laws. He went on a trip on yantiv. He's chayiv in sukkah. Is he going to get punished for not sitting in the sukkah? Or he's halchadech? Halchadech is pater. What do I care if he was HILCHOS yantiv? He was HILCHOS yantiv. But when he comes up to Shemayim, is he going to get punished for not sitting in the sukkah or no? Good question. Rashi says he's pater only on Chol Hamoed and yantiv not. Why? Because you don't travel in yantiv. But let's say the guy did travel. He's a fry yid. Now he comes up to Shemayim, Lachem Evetzim. They punish him. You were over on HILCHOS yantiv. Question: are they going to punish him for not sitting in the sukkah? What about using Bunim? What do you mean about that? What's the question? Bunim? I'm not sure what his question is. Yeah, they were hot. Some say so what? So I'm gonna get that. Okay, fine. It's taking kids on trips in Chol Hamoed. That's a very good question. We're going to be discussing that in Mitzvah Hashem. More even on Yom Kippur. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what it was referring to. Okay, so let's go back here. So now, that's number one. We're asking on Rashi, why does Rashi have to deal with Yom Tov? That's not the case here. We're discussing over here. The discussion is if traveling is mutter to be without a sukkah. Now, Tosfos, he says, where do you get such a hat? You don't see that. Let's say you're traveling. Do you say, okay, I'm patrim dal minim now because I'm traveling? You don't say such a hat, right? What's going on over here? Why is it pater sukkah? You don't say that you're traveling on Pesach, Chalamay Pesach. You can eat chametz, no problem. You're traveling. You see such a term? No such a term. Right? So why is sukkah any different? Zok Tosfos. Kol ze nafka halchadrachim b'yom kol ze nafka miteshu kan tedur. This is learned out of teshu kan tedur shekashem she'adam bebeisay einay nimna melatzes baderech. A person on the road is not stopped from going. V'chein mitztayah the patru le'amen ha'sukkah. Let me tell you another halacha. We know mitztayah is patru. Where does that come from? Also teshu kan tedur. They know them dog b'makom shemitztayah. A person doesn't live in a place where he's mitztayah. So Tosfos explains to us very well that this heter is teshu kan tedur. The same way you live, that's how you're supposed to live in the sukkah. Same way you live in your house, you travel, you don't live in a house, therefore you're pater from a sukkah. Okay?
Zion, you just have Zion, all Zion, you also pater. Person wouldn't like living in a jail for 7 days.
Yes, he's asking over here, Rabbi Black is asking that Zion al Zion, the sukkah could be Zion al Zion. And over there, you're not going to be pater. We tell you Zion al Zion is a shit. You don't live in a house, Zion al Zion. So too, over here, you should not be living in a sukkah, Zion al Zion. And we know Zion al Zion is mutter. No one lives in a house, Zion al Zion. Even that guy that sleeps in the sukkah, Zion al Zion, he does not live in his house. You go to his house, he has this huge living room, dining room, kitchen, bedrooms, bathroom, v'chulu. So, why are we telling you that you can live in a sukkah, Zion al Zion? That's a very valid question. And let me ask you another question. Did you ever put a peacock in your dining room ceiling, hanging from the ceiling, with all the colors and waving out and like all that? You ever did that? No, why not? So how do you bring that into your sukkah? No one ever did that. You do that, you're out for at least a week, your wife tends you flying, right? Or you go ahead and you put on those paper gedolim pictures and one rain it has all sorts of different colors, right? You're going to do that, right? Your wife's going to throw you out. So how can you do that in a sukkah? You have to live like your bias. Right? The answer is that when you're going someplace, I have a better question. I have a better question for you. And I was asked this question many times. If you don't have your air conditioner on 72 degrees, between 70 and 72, whichever one you like, or 74, you're leaving. You're done. If that air conditioner broke, if you're up to 80 degrees, you're going to your children are coming to you. It's not negaya, right? So I have a question. You build yourself a sukkah and you have the sun boiling on you and it's 80 degrees. Well, let's talk about when it's the winter, when it's colder. You live up in Chicago or even sometimes in Lakewood. It gets cold, right? So now, it's up to 58 degrees. You sit in your house 58 degrees, you're running out of it, right? Here comes 58 degrees. What do? You come with your coat. You ever ate in your dining room with your coat and scarf and gloves? You ever did that? No, right? You're not well, you're going to go upstairs and you lay in your bed. You're not eating that day. So all of a sudden it comes to sukkah, it has to be like your bias. Teshu kan tedur. HaRav is pater. How can it be that you're going to be chayiv to sit in the sukkah? We don't tell you when it's 58 degrees you leave. It's 40 degrees, maybe we'll take the leave. 58 degrees, we don't take the leave. I'll never sit in my house in 58 degree weather. So why am I mechuyev? Now it comes out that basically you'll never have that right time that you can be mechuyev. Let's say the sun is shining. Very not kishmak. You have schach, but the sun is coming through. Are you going to sit in the house when you have to wear sunglasses? You're not going to sit in the house. So why over here do we say Teshu kan tedur? Why don't we say just like HaRav? Good questions? Now I'm looking for an answer for these questions. Okay, so we're going to have to say it ourselves. No? Okay, so let's see what we can think of. So let's say like this.
What's the question? Why does a new p'tur of HaRav?
Yeah, the HaRav, Tosfos explains to us the p'tur is because you don't, in the same way in your house, you leave your house sometimes, You go out throughout during the year. That's what you do. So we also, no one sits in a sukkah. Rabbi Black started this question. I wasn't going to ask these questions. Rabbi Black said, Zion al Zion, no one has a house Zion al Zion. So you're part of a sukkah. You only have a sukkah Zion al Zion part. So I'm being merciful to these questions a lot. I'm saying no one sits in the house if it's not between 70 and 74 degrees, 68 and 74, let's say. That's normal winter, summer. Your heater's on in the winter. Your air conditioner's on in the summer. That's the way you live. If it's going to be 62 degrees, you're running out of that house. And if it's going to be 80 degrees, you're also running out. So you never have perfect weather on sukkahs. So you always should be potter. You should never be chayiv. And the answer is that when you're going to a 7-day place, you don't care that much. You're right, your house, you don't live like that. But when it's a place that's only meant for 7 days, then you would go ahead and have a different temperature, smaller house, varaya. You go to a bungalow. Today already not as much, but today you go to bungalow 10 weeks, you have these nice bungalows. But we went to bungalows, you had 1 bedroom, all of a sudden you live like a bayashiv. Right? What just happened over here? You're not a Yerushalayim, right? What are you doing here? What's the pshat? The answer is, no, it's just a short vacation. It's not a long time. Right? Today we need, okay. But let's say, because we go for 10 weeks. But let's say you're going someplace for 6 weeks. No, sorry, for 6 days. You're not going to go ahead and put yourself into this beautiful, you could do that. But you're okay. You make terms with it that, okay, I'm not going to have carpet on this floor because I don't need carpet because it's a 7-day living. So as much as we want your sukkah to be your bias, but the same way in your bias, right? It's like you go camping. You don't go camping for a year, but for 6 days you'll go camping. So now, so you don't put, okay, I'm going camping. Let's say you built a little tent, and I need carpet in that. It's HaSukkah. What happened to you? That's not what you do when you camp. When you're camping, it's as much as we need sukkah to be a bias, but it's a bias of 7 days. In that tent, you'll have a peacock hanging. When you go camping for 7 days, you don't mind all that. You're laughing, but you'll think about it. What a modern sukkah. You want it to be a house, and you have this. A peacock is already nice. That's what that's what we like. That was colorful. But imagine you come with the colorful stars and you hang it in your dining room on the light, right? Your wife's gonna. But that's not true. You're not gonna get it to the front door even. Yeah, no, but imagine I tell you there's a mitzvah in your dining room, and you come with a starling. Beautiful, basically what they use by craftsmen over there. You'll come in and hang it all around the walls and with some greeneries and some esrogim that I have rotten, right? You're going to do that. It's not negaya. The answer is because a 7-day tent looks like that, right? A tarp looks like that. So that's why all those questions aren't negaya. It's a very important nakuda. And therefore, in a tent, you'll also, if you go camping, you're also not going to worry about the temperature exactly. Abisa, I can sit in there, it's okay. So that's why a sukkah, you're not mechuyev to go ahead and put an air conditioner. You're not mechuyev to go put a heater. Else we should tell you. That's what I'm telling you. But if it's a 7-day living, so that's how you would live 7 days without, if you go camping, you decide that in the middle of the winter you're going skiing, right? You're going to go ahead and make sure that, so it's a little cold, obviously, that's what I'm going. It's a normal thing to do when you're skiing. So what that means, when I'm just going for a short period of time, I'm not makbid that everything works out. Today we're more mufanaka maybe, but
no, but it's not subjective. It's objective. Could be that such a mitzvah is going, that's enough to part to you. In other words, it doesn't mean that if you're, older person who's not going to go camping, doesn't matter because there is such a thing as going camping.
So I'm just trying to say is that's sufficing. Okay, that was a little out. I wasn't looking to talk about that, but it's a very important nakuda which we will aim it on. Okay, but now let's go back. So now let's just be clear. Taisvis was very clearly, and he said there's a p'tur of Teshu can't do it. Does Rashi say those words? Not my Rashi. That's just Teshu, but he doesn't say Teshu can't do. Another nafkamin is Rashi said Dafki you're going for schayra. Let's say I'm going on a trip. Rashi does not give you a heter. I want to go on vacation. I want to go on a chalabai trip. Rashi doesn't say it's mutter. Rashi said schayra. Taisvis did not make such a mention. No, you're on the right page before. Yeah, right there. Yeah. Taisvis does not make such a mention. Taisvis says that anytime you leave your house, yes, it's a normal thing to leave your house. We go on trips. It's coming more frequent, and that's okay. Let me ask you a question before we say the Londinsky. Let's say someone never goes on trips, and now he decided this sukkah, the first time he's going on a trip. Does he have a p'tur of Ha'chad Racham? Teishu can do or not?
A pleasure trip.
No, he's going on a schayr trip even. Anything. He never ever goes on a trip. He never leaves his wife. This year he decided the first time he's going sukkahs. He wants to become a new member. He's going with the club. Everyone leaves their wives. Everyone becomes bachim. Oh, you're making me faces. You're behind time.
Who said
Today,
that's
ready?
Who said that's mutter during the year?
Right, okay, I'm saying. Fine. So now, let's say the guy does this, right? He leaves his wife. So good. So he's Achadach. Could we say that this time you're going to go ahead and the first time is going to be sukkahs? You know, it's a machlaikas in the Rishonim. Rabbeinu Menoyach on the Rambam brings the machlaikas in the Rishonim. There's a Maria Azula on the Lavush in Simcha Tavesh Mem. He brings from a base Mayid that if it's your first time, you're not allowed to go. You can't say, oh, sukkahs Tavshin Pei Gimel. I am now a new person, a new me. I'm a Mr. Ha'chederech. You can't do that. Now, why not? What in the world? Why not? I became now Ha'chederech. Why not? People leave. I never left, but now I started leaving. Why am I done myself? Ha'chederech is a normal thing to do. Okay, now let's move on. We're going to explain this in a minute. We made a chiluk between Rashi and Taisus. Rashi doesn't say Teishu can't do it. Rashi says Mesukkash Teishu, Ka'en Yeshivas Beisek. Taisus says Teishu can't do it. Another chiluk, Rashi doesn't say Derech Schayra. Sorry, Rashi says you're only allowed to go for Schayra. Taisus doesn't make a mention. You go, wherever you're going. Whatever purpose you're going. Another nafkamina is, Rashi mentioned something with Yontif, that on Yontif, you can't be a Ha'chederech. Well, okay, that's obvious. On Yontif, you're not a Ha'chederech because you're not a Ha'chederech. What's the Chiddush? You can't travel on Yontif. It's not negate our sukkah. Taisus doesn't make any such mention. So we want to say in a very big nafkamina what the Tam Aptur is. Taisus, let's clear. Is the reason why you potter because now I'm in no man's land. I'm sitting in a mountain without any way to get a sukkah. So I'm in start. You're going to tell me schlep up the mountain now beans and things? I can't do it. So I'm potter in start. That is what Taisus is telling you. Normally, you go up a mountain, you don't worry about what's on top of you. You're going there to camp. I'm fine. So too on sukkahs, we're not mechayiv you to do more. I should go ahead and build a sukkah there. That's a p'tur mitzvah. It's like a p'tur mitzvah. Taisu can't do it. Rashi learns that's not the reason. Rashi learns a very yesodistic reason why it's pater. The reason why you're pater is because the only time you're chayiv is if you have a bias. You're leaving your bias and you're going into the sukkah. When I'm on the road, I'm not a bias to yid. I don't have a bias. I'm a road. I'm a driver. I'm a ha'chederech. So when you're ha'chederech, it's not saying me beisai b'shav b'sukkah. There's no beisai. I don't have a bias. So I don't have a bias. I am not obligated to go into the sukkah. It's only that someone that has a bias, yeshiva's beisai. So now do that yeshiva's beisai in a sukkah. I'm a person, I don't have yeshiva's beisai, so I don't have to do anything in the sukkah. You hear the Londis? Again, let's repeat. There's two reasons why to pater ha'chederech. One is, Pashut, he's in the road, it's too hard for him to build a sukkah, like a mitzvah, the other reason is, no. You don't say, okay, it's very hard for me to get the Daled Minim today, I'm going to skip it. It's not chat. The reason is, because since I am on the road, I don't have a bias to tell me, get out of your bias and go into your sukkah. I'm not a bias-tic person. I don't live in a bias these 7 days. I'm not living in a house. So I'm not living in a house, I'm not going to live in a sukkah.
You left the house, you left the bias.
It doesn't matter. I left my bias behind. Now I start a new life. I am a road guy. I'm on the road. I'm not a bias-tic person. Yeah? You remember Kalbach looks like having a hard time to this one. Okay? It's ganz klar. Therefore, Rashi holds like this. Rashi holds that you can't just make yourself ice bias. You're on a trip. That's not called you left your bias. That's part of your bias still. If I go for business is a whole thing for itself, then I could go ahead and have this heter of not being the bias. So I'm not a bias yet. So therefore I'm pater. So Rashi says the whole tour is only when you're going on a trip, a business trip. If you're going on a trip for pleasure, you still consider that you have a bias. Taisus learns not like that. Taisus learns that, yeah, that's a good question. Daniel Khan's asking a good question. What's if you're homeless? We'll get to that in a minute. Taisus learns the Ptur is HaRav, you mitzvah, Teishu Ken Teduru, you're always part no matter what. You're going here to Six Flags. I don't know if you know what that is. It doesn't mean it's Six Flags. It means it's a
Amusement park.
amusement park. You go in there, it is, maybe there are Six Flags, you're going there, it's mutter, because I'm not writing over here, I don't have a sukkah around me, whatever that means if you have to build it, but you don't have to go ahead, you putter from sukkah, because right now, I'm a person that I don't see any sukkah around me, I'm putter, finished.
Why don't they have the Chomer Ramah, like the money collectors have to come back at night? Why don't the Ramah brings that as a psak? So why don't we have to come back why do you have to, why allowed to
The
eat?
only part of B'yayim, not part of B'layim, from HaRav. From HaRav B'yayim is part of B'yayim, but not B'layim.
Oh, so you have to go back at night.
Right, he has to go back at night. Right, so now, Nageya L'didan are many cases. I think I overheard when I came in that Reb Shlomo was discussing Moshe's Tshuva. And Moshe comes up with a chiddush and says that you cannot go for a pleasure trip on Chol Hamoed and say I'm part of a sukkah. Why am I Chajachem? Where's the Moshe coming from? So Moshe writes in his Tshuva. Now, 1 second. I just want to take a step back for a moment. Let's say you, even on the road, you're a big mafunik, you're very special, you don't eat out, you always eat in a house. On the road also. Am I obligated now to eat in the sukkah? Do I have the ptur of HaRav? Zok the Binyan Shlomi, you don't have the ptur. You do not have the ptur because since you always eat in a bias, so now you always have a bias with you. You always make sure you never eat in a park. You always make sure to eat your sudas in a hotel, in an enclosed area. So therefore, Zok the Binyan Shloima, you do not have the ptur of HaRav. What's the pshat? The way we're explaining in Rashi, it makes a lot of sense. Because the whole reason is because you're not a bias yid. You are a bias yid. You're always connected to a bias. Since you're always connected to a bias, wherever you are, you always consider yourself that you have a house, you have a hotel, you don't stop go camping. You're always connected to something. Therefore, Zok the Binyan Shloima, you mechuyev to sit in the sukkah. That's most of us today. Even when you're traveling, you make sure no one just eats any more tuna fish sandwiches. You don't do that anymore. When you go on a trip, you stop in a restaurant, you make sure there's Jewish food all over, wherever you may be. You travel, you're planning a trip with Jewish food, with restaurants around you. Right? So therefore, Zok the Binyan Shloima, you'll be mechuyev in the sukkah. So that's a very chashuv of Binyan Shloima to know. That he says this whole ptur of HaRav, a train overnight is a good child. We're going to get to that. 1 second. So too a plane, for sure. Right? If you're going from here to HSukkah. So too, if you're going to go ahead and have your person that only eats in a restaurant or someplace that chashuv a place, therefore, Zok the Binyan Shloima, you won't be mechuyev in the sukkah. Now, if you're going on an airplane, that's not called a bias. You can't be misachas that to have bias. So therefore, it'll be mutter, even like the Binyan Shloima, to go ahead and eat out of the sukkah. Now, so let's get to our Moshe. Moshe comes along and says that today, it's Moshe no Chaim Chelek Gimel Siman Tzad Gimel. He says,
Could you put up the tshuva, please?
the only time you have a heter is
148. On page 148 in the books, everybody say if you want to see.
Yeah, he has it.
Yeah.
He says the only time it's mutter is only, he says two things. Kishahachal mischa is mutter, not stam dvar reshus. Why it has to be a tzarich mamish? You have an underline. Has to be a tzarich mamish. V'gamu l'chol adam. Not only a tzarich mamish. Everyone goes lemischa, but to go l'til or l'tainik ba'alma she'ein zeh l'zeh shum tzarich einoi klum mashem mishul tavasav anasa yaitzi b'beisah. You say I'm going on a pleasure trip, no heta at all. Now, I just want to, mention that's pashut. Obviously, you'll understand that over here we're dealing with someone that is going the til ulatainik ba'alma, and many times that's not the case. Many times, not stam til ulatainik. It's needed in the family. You come chalamayit in the house. Sometimes I don't know if you have little children anymore, but if you do, It's a zoo, a live zoo going on right there. So you remember, right? You're still shooken up from that, right? So I don't know. That means Moshe went along and said that til tiny ba'alma she'ein lazeh shum tzarich. Means the takes the shuva mischa finished. And Moshe writes she'ein lazeh shum tzarich. I wouldn't call that a day of sitting in someone's house, chalamayid, when you have five children or more, even less than that. That it's called ein lazeh shum tzarich. So the other wants to take a Moshe being machmeh, to take it easy. Look at the words again. He said she'ein lazeh shum tzarich. Einoi klum b'shvil tavosav anasai hayotzim mibeisai. Question: when the father and the mother go out, you think that's tavosav anasai? They're schlepping their children that they're screaming over, and every child wants to go someplace else until you get to the destination. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, basically, right? That's because you can't make up where you're heading. So I wouldn't call that tavosav anasai. Maybe if you're out in Orlando, and the child's over there, okay, now you want to go to the beach to relax, that maybe you'll call it tavosav anasai. Why I'm avoiding this is like this, because the Welt asks like a little bit of a steer that in Tshuva later on, Moshe and Evan Ezra Chelik Daled, Simcha Beis Eis Ches. So Moshe writes over there.
Scroll down. It's on the page.
Oh,
Scroll
you have
down.
that? Oh.
Yeah.
What?
You want
okay.
you want it in front of you? You have it?
Yeah. So he writes that Hanaselem Din Achesh Yesh Dvarim Sheyotzim Inchi Lirais Yasham Im La Yuchal Yasham Eze Yom HaChasukah Lirazeh Avalotzis L'Til Tanig Yitzil Levad Asa Kshla Yuchal Lecha V'Lisham Sukkah V'chein Ksheyesh Eze Yom L'Tayal HaChasukah Ein Rasha Leilach
End of the tshuva. Scroll it down. End of the tshuva. So he's telling that tourism purposes to see a foreign country is a tzarich.
Right.
What's the pshat?
One second. So that's what I'm telling you. If you medayik again in Arachayim, he didn't say that. He said, Ein lazeh shum tzarich. He said very clearly, I understand that he wrote Mischa is a tzarich. Today, our trips, I mean, already today it became normal that if you don't go to Florida and to Israel and Arizona in 1 year, it's almost like, what's wrong with you, right? Come on. The last but that's what's going on here. I'm saying, now, okay, that was maybe a little bit of a guzman, but at least once a year, people are going on Zolzain to Israel, Zolzain to Florida, Zolzain something. We got some immune to this trip. So you don't call that Ein Lazeh Tzarich Mamish. So therefore, I think even a Moshe today would not two things. A Chalamai trip that you're in your family and it's going bazookies over there and you gather, showing they're having a good time. That's not called Tainik Ba'alma. That's not called Tainik Ba'alma.
Yeah, but do that in a place where there's a sukkah. Why does the Tainik have to be in a place where there's no
So
sukkah?
Moshe doesn't. That's why I didn't get to the next part of Moshe. I'm talking about now this kilo, this stira that over here Moshe gave you more leniency. Even in Chaim, he gave you that leniency. He said that Ein Lazeh Shum Tzarich. It's not true. When we're going on trips today, it's not Shum Tzarich. Now, like I'm saying again, this I'm talking about a day trip. Now, there's no. Moshe didn't ask you from eating potato chips, Pesach cake, if you still have leftover on Sukkot, which is shahaka, and whatever it may be. That means he asked you from going out and eating achilas kvar. Okay, I'm saying, like, let's be honest. I mean, you don't have to sit down and wash every meal you eat, right? So you don't say, okay, I'm gonna eat. Why are you doing that for? Why like find out if you're hachadach? So that means Moshe didn't just tell you to fast. That's for sure not. So again, Moshe told you that if you're not going for derech schayra, then it's us. We're telling you that Moshe was referring to some place that you're only going for no reason at all. If you're going, if you have a purpose for the going, you're taking your children out and the children want to eat, the chayra Moshe would agree that that's considered that there's a tzarech. Now, what Moshe does say at the end of the tshuva, and that's what Shlomo is saying, that Lamaisa today, at the end of the tshuva of Chaim, not go scroll up, and you'll see, go up a little bit.
He uses Lashon in Riska and Aser. He's very machmer Chaim.
So over there, and Moshe writes another thing. He writes that since today, the Gam Beloize, he says, without this, he says, Hananoshim alasei be'idan rischa, we get punished since it's Idan rischa, it's a Gemara Menachos. When you're looking for eitzes to run away from a mitzvah, what's it referring to over there? Over there it's referring to tzitzis. that by tzitzis, you're also not mechuyev to wear begedal kanfas. Why are you putting it on? Why is everyone wearing tzitzis today? So this Gemara tells you, because b'idin rischah, it's b'shas kas today, so we try to do extra, we try to be special. Since b'shas kas, we try to be special. So he says, l'chein mistabed l'leilich l'til l'tainig l'mokim shaleka sukkah asa. He ends up very sharp. He says, you're going for til l'tainig l'mokim shaleka sukkah asa. So this part of the tshuva seems that you should not be going on any trips. And he tells you why. A new svara. Not because you don't have the Teshuvah to do it, and Rashi says chayr. He's telling you because this is a svara of leka, it's b'idin rischah. You try to chap around, don't try to push away mitzvahs. Now, but if I'm going with my children to have mitzvahs, simchas yontif, that's what my tachlis, if I'm going for that tachlis, to have simchas yontif, so you can't tell me that, even Moshe didn't say over there, Moshe is going off the first part of the tshuva, that he said, Ein l'zeh tzarich. There's no tzarich. You stop going touring now, that you're going to be there after yontif, and you stop a time wasted, right? If not, okay, let me leave the sukkah. Avada, and Moshe holds over there is awesome. But when my matar is not to leave the sukkah, my matar is to keep my children entertained, and my matar is simchas yontif. Else they're going to climb the walls of my house, shoot the gemashmai, to mamela. Then we tell you that avada, you should go ahead and you're allowed to go on a trip. Now, even that second part of Moshe didn't tell you that'll be awesome. Over there, Moshe would agree l'chayra that the markup to be makel, and like we see in Eben Ezer, Chelik Daled, which is Chelik Zayin and Chuvas, over there you don't see Moshe was so stringent, so machmeh, and told you can't go on trips. And we know that we have Rabbi Yashiv, Chaim Pereshayimberg, Das Nidberu, they all were much more makel on this Nekuda, and they felt that a person could go ahead and go on trips.
Some Zalman is not. Some Zalman also seems to be.
Some Zalman seems to be machmeh, and some Zalman I see on the side of the page over here. You brought down that Yeshurun, which is
no. This other next page. Could you please?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to go through it because it has got a lot of.
Just the one line. Shleimer tells us we'd like to know if it's a chiluk or not. The next page.
Yeah.
Basically, the next page of 149. There. That's the one line here. Is this the same as Ramesh or this is different?
No, this is perfect. This is the Halich Shleimer, this is Rabbi Shleimer Zalman. It says in Chaf Aleph, he says, "Hametayolim ein lam din halched drachim, shareim yechaylim la'arech esatil b'zman acha, ulefika chayavim b'sukkah, v'lechein yesh lim mana mitiyulim lim kaimer she'eni yedea shetei sukkah mitzuyolai behem v'sh'as hatzayach." So he tells you very clear what he asked him. And you have to read this clearly. He's telling you a tour guide. Someone's a tour. You're going on a tour. He's not talking about trips that you're going to keep your children busy. On a tour, he tells you can do it after Yontif. We don't tell you that you can go to Six Flags after Yontif. I wasn't looking to go on that Ferris wheel. That's not what that wasn't what you were looking to do. You weren't okay. I did that Ferris wheel. Now next Yontif, I'm going to do something else. The reason why you're going on the Ferris wheel is because to keep your children entertained. So if you're going to the zoo, it's not like, okay, I marked that off my calendar. Okay, zoo is taken care of. Now I'm going to someplace else. You can do the Bronx Zoo 75 times. Every Chalamayt you're going to the Bronx Zoo. There's no new animals there. The Torah says you're going to entertain your children or your wife, whoever you're looking to entertain. But like upon him, so that's in my Torah. So that's not even Shlomo Zalman. Shlomo Zalman was talking to tours, and you're going to go. You went to HSukkah, and you want to do the tour in Tveriyach. So now you can do it after Yontif. Shlomo Zalman tells you very clearly, go ahead and do it after Yontif. Go ahead and tour. We don't say, okay, you tell your children, we're not going to go anywhere. We're going to do it Issuchag. They'll hang you. What do we mean Issuchag? Right now, what am I doing today? You have to keep them busy every 5 minutes. So therefore, even if Shlomo Zalman would have asked such a case, you hear the Chiddush what I'm saying of Shlomo. It's a new Chiddush that even Moshe Shlomo Zalman did not discuss our situations.
Psychology is in the thing. Keeping people happy is a tzarech.
Right. And that's why Moshe Shtemach has a whole tshuva on this. And he writes that Mitzat Simchas Yontif, you should go. So, I'm not telling you, again, if you're going for touring, on that, we have to be Saimach on Moshe Shlomo Zalman. And this of Shlomo Zalman, they bring a raya from my cousin's dam. I think he brought it over there in Eismem, that we're not going to go through to, because that's a Baruch Rosenberg, who was brought down in the Heilige Sefer Yeshurun. He's not living anymore, Baruch Rosenberg, but they bring down a beautiful shtickle on him that he argues on every Nakudah of Shlomo Zalman. But I'm saying even without that, most of us are not using the Yontif, I hope not, for touring. And that's what Moshe says, what are you wasting your time? Go spend your time better. Why are you throwing away a mitzvah sukkah? You stop going touring. But if I'm going and I'm taking a pleasure trip with my children because this is what's going to keep them busy, it's pashut that even your Moshe, Lani is Daiti, even your Moshe, Shlomo Zalman, everyone thinks it's a chumrah. They're not talking to such a case, and that would be mutter. Okay. So that's final. We gave you somewhat of a heta, but again, there's no reason, Lamaisa. Why are you looking to eat bread for those few hours that you're sitting in an amusement park? Don't eat bread. Everything's okay. You'll live, you'll survive. It's going to be good for you. But if a person feels that he has to eat bread, you don't have to worry to say that you go and connect to Moshe. I believe that Moshe and Shlomo Zalman would be makel on this nakud. Okay, that's Bekitza Nimritz, this P'tur of HaRav, and we're saying it does apply to today also, and l'chayre, the Paiskim would be makel on today, besides even, not only you don't have to come on to the Chalkim on Moshe, and Shlomo Zalman, l'chayre would be makel on that also. Now let's move on.
One child of mine always comes up. You pull into a hotel, there's no at 6 in the afternoon. How much do you, that you referenced before, how much are you mukhir to look for a sukkah? Let's assume you're in a place where maybe you can find a sukkah.
Okay, so that's a good child. That's a very good child. Lamaisi, you went away with your children. You had the heter to go away. Like we're saying, you're not stop going to Yule. You're going from here to Niagara Falls. Very nice trip, a kosher trip. And you're going there for Chalamoid, 3-day Chalamoid, 4 days, whatever it is. And you're going there to have a nice trip. Could you do that or not? What's the shot? You can end up in Buffalo, and over there, you have no idea if there's a sukkah. So can I go ahead and L'maisa, I'm not Hilchadrochem Balayla. Balayla, I'm stopping. So by Yoyim, we told you could eat. And we're telling you even Amos told you could eat. But Balayla, I'm chayiv. So I'm chayiv in a sukkah. Now I don't know if there's a sukkah in Buffalo. Can I go ahead and do that or not? Very, very valid question.
And once you get there, what do you do?
Right, once I get there, what do I do? What's the shayla? So the shayla is as follows. The shayla is that we know you're mechuyev to sleep in a sukkah. Now, maybe in your house, you don't sleep in a sukkah. Why don't you sleep in a sukkah in your house? We're not going to go through that. That we have a whole shia on B'chlal. If there's a heter not to sleep in the sukkah, not it's a regular chiyuv. Shin is a regular chiyuv. But let's say you don't sleep in the sukkah. Now, in the hotel, can I go ahead and say, I'm not even looking. I'm not sleeping in the sukkah tonight. I'm in a hotel. I'm patel. Well, I say, no. You now, in the hotel, you're not going to be halcha drachim balayla. You're mechuyev to go ahead and sleep and find yourself a sukkah. Or when it comes to supper, you're there at night. Right now, you're not traveling. When you're traveling, we said it's mutter. But now, right now, I'm not traveling. Can I go ahead and say, I'm going to eat supper in the hotel? Very good question. Sleeping, we'll deal in a minute. But what about eating? Can I go ahead? I want to eat supper. Fakat, Yontif, you need a suit. This Yontif is Basav Yayin. I'm going to go ahead and wash and eat out of the sukkah. Mezainis, whatever it is. Can I do that? What should be my heter? L'chayra, I'm not Hilchadrech Balayla. I'm only traveling in the day. And even if I'm Balayla, but now I'm stopping in a hotel. Why is that called Hilchadrech?
You settled in for night. You rented a house.
A beautiful house. L'chayra, we're coming out that you should be mechuyev in a sukkah, and you have no heter not to go into a sukkah. Don't eat. So I have a pashta eitzah. Eat while you're in the car, but don't eat while you came to the hotel. You can eat a diras ara, but to eat a diras kva, to eat sudas kva, that is usher to eat in the hotel. Then I'm oisach hadrachim. Now, the Shinas Ara is even a problem. Right? Shinas Ara is also chutz sukkah. So now, eating will tell you to eat vegetables. Or to go ahead and eat right before you get to the hotel. You're still a chadrachim. That is the halacha l'maisa. You are not allowed to eat out of the sukkah. Don't give yourself this heter of chadrachim, because right now you're finished. Stop. Now the child is sleeping. What are you going to do with sleeping? No, that's a big problem. So the answer to that is, I mean, I'm not saying I'm trying to be down like HaRav, but I mean, we have to try to somewhat. That means I'm not saying pashtus you should go into a sukkah. Try to find the sukkah. Now we have machlekes magen Avraham and Lavush. If you should go ahead,
Build one.
and build one.
Have to build one.
You have to build one, or you just have to be mechapesh. You have to look for a sukkah. Now I'm sure there's many yidden wherever you can travel. There'll probably be yidden someplace. If it's raining, for sure it's mutter. Yeah, if it's raining, it's pashtus mutter. Yeah. So what could be the hatter? So let me tell you a little bit as follows. Is there any hatter? I don't know if we should go into this or into rain. What time is it?
We're going to go for a few minutes over, 5 minutes over.
What time is it?
It's 45.
That's
We have
45.
20 minutes.
Okay. So the question is, if you see that, let's say in the middle of the day and Yontif afternoon, you want to go, you want to go for a nap, and you're going to go into your sukkah. And Lamaisa, there are children around playing, right, outside your sukkah, not in your sukkah. Your neighbors are playing and making noise. Are you mechuyev to go into the sukkah? No, because you're mitzvah. Right? You know you're not going to sleep well. You're mitzvah, you're not mechuyev to go into the sukkah. Sleeping, we're much more lenient on that nakuda. That means if you know that you were allowed to go on this trip, and now you know you're going to come to someone in Buffalo, and you're going to knock on his door and say, do you have a sukkah I can sleep in, right? So he's going to tell you that, yeah, no problem. Over here we have that mat that goes, in the middle, the fold-up beds, in the middle. You can make a yeshiva, you know what I mean, right? So now I'm mitzvah. I'm not going to sleep like that. I know I'm not going to sleep like that. So I'm thinking that. So you never come to someone and he says, yeah, no problem. I have a lot of extra space in my sukkah for you to sleep. You ever had that? I'll slip down the bed and I'll do everything for you. That never. You didn't do halach ma'anya v'yeh kol dich v'yesef v'yechel kol dich v'yesef v'yishin in my sukkah. It's not the most pleasant invitation, right? If someone asks you, you start shuldiks, right? That's pashas what you will be doing. No, I think that's the truth. No, that's not the first invitation you're giving someone. Is come please sleep in my sukkah. First, you don't know if the guy snores or not. But besides that, right? You're not comfortable over there to have someone in your sukkah sleeping. If for food you'll have it, no problem. So therefore, it's a little bit leichter to say that you're going to be mitzvah. Now the question, like Shlomo is asking, is then don't go on the trip. You're not only going on such a trip. Why are you going on such a trip? You go on a trip that you know for sure you're going to be part yourself in the sukkah. That's another whole sugya, which we have to get into when you could put yourself in the case of mitzvah or not. And we're not going to go into that. I want to go into a very important.
The Magen uses the word pasheya, very strong language.
That you have to put yourself in a matzav. So I'm telling you, over here, you're not really putting yourself in a matzav. That means eating, I'm taking care of. Sleeping is a much leichter p'tur mitzvah that over there, it's much more lenient to go ahead and do that. And that's what the Velt is saying. That the guy by sleeping, they'll get out of it. Okay, now, let's go into Gshaman, because it's a very important nakuda. When it's raining, al pi pashtus, you're not allowed to sit in the sukkah. Chassidim sit in the sukkah for whatever, some rabbis, they sit in the sukkah for that reason. There's a Chuvas Mashag and that, and many other Chuvas to explain how they can sit in the sukkah. But al pi pashtus, the Mishnah, Gshamim, you part of a sukkah, Yod Gshamim, Me'im Esai Mutal Lefanes, Misha Tisrech HaMikafa. Mikvah HaMikafa. When the soup, or whatever this food is, gets soggy, can't eat it. So that's when you're parting. Now, one question is, Pashit, why don't we have a regular P'tur Mitzvah? Why do we have to have a simon when you mitzvah? I'm sitting in the sukkah, it's raining on my head. I need my soup to get spoiled. What do I care about my soup? I care about myself. Right? Why am I down my soup? Myself, I feel that I'm mitzvah. I can't sit in the sukkah like this. So this is an answer by some say that you're right. This is just a regular mitzvah, which is a chiddush. But it's truth is it's already the guy that's mashma like that. I don't have time to show you where in the guy it's mashma like that, but it's clear in the guy like that in Shulchan Aruch, and that's how we learn. But others learn that this is a time before your mitzvah. The mitzvah hamikafa is you're really not mitzvah. It's a couple of drizzles, but already your soup is going to get ruined. Therefore, we tell you it's pati, which is a chiddush. Why? But akapanim, that's how many Paiskim Shabur goes with this, that even though you're not mitzvah, you're okay to sit with the little drops. But since your soup is going to get spoiled, your soup not spoiled, it's going to get ruined, therefore, we tell you, you're part of sitting in soup. Now, the halacha is as follows. The halacha is that if you go into the sukkah and it started raining, you go into the house, you move all your dishes, everything's back in the house. Now, stopped raining. Are you mechuyev to go into the sukkah? No. Why not? Why are you mechuyev to go back into the sukkah? Even though it stopped. Why aren't you mechuyev to go back into the sukkah? It stopped raining. That says, because it's a tircha. Once you sat down, you're parted from going into the sukkah.
Where do we find a Torah in the Torah of Tircha?
So that means, I'll explain your question a little bit more. You don't say, before sukkahs, no one has an easy time putting up a sukkah. It's difficult. I'm techa, I'm pata. Pata from sukkah because it's techa. Before sukkahs comes along, I'm pata. No one says that. Why? Because there's no Torah of techa. It's only on Yontif that you want to go ahead now and build a sukkah, so we tell you, you're not mechuyev to because techa. Why? Because Teishu can't do you. Mitzvah is pata. So now, let's say again the case. It was raining, you were sitting in the sukkah, started raining. You go into the house, it stopped raining. Are you mechuyev to go back into the sukkah? No. You finish your suda. Two questions. Let's say someone goes ahead and he goes back into his house, he's sitting there, he's eating the chalent, and at the Remel Tzachayim. Yeah, it happens, right? It's like about Meisim B'chol Shabbos, right? And your wife wakes you up, it's dessert time, right? Are you mechuyev to sleep that you just slept in the sukkah? Again, what happened? It was raining, you left your sukkah, you went into your house. You're allowed to finish the ketchila, you're allowed to finish your whole suda in your house. You're not mechuyev to go back into the sukkah. Why? Tech. But you, by after the chalent, you start dremeling on your seat. You don't go to the couch. You have the two armchairs, Baruch Hashem, only you, and you can go ahead and go like this, and everyone's talking around you, and you're dozing off, right? So that dozing off, that cholim that you had over there, does that have to be in the sukkah? Or you say, no, this is one story of one suda. Do you call this part of your suda? This might be a daily routine by you, that you go ahead and you demo zachayim in suda, right? That one's laughing. For some reason, it seems like it is something that's normal over here, right? That your children are plopping away, and then you have 5 questions. You're answering the question from with the shmooze about they're already in 16. They're already ahead of you, right? In different shmooze, and you wake up. Oh yeah, what right? Are you allowed to do that out of the sukkah? What do you say? Huh?
Same tircha to go back to the sukkah to go fall asleep. You're sleeping already. You fell asleep.
No, let's say we catch you at the moment before you fell asleep, right?
Dremel is part of the suda.
Oh, that's a heavy word. Dremel is part of the suda. Did we say that? I have a question for you, Rabbi Black. Let's say the moment after benching, that's it. The benching killed you out. You fall right to sleep. That's also part of the suda. That's like a long dessert. And you say, okay, Dremel, once we gave you a heter to sleep out of the sukkah, to eat out of the sukkah, the Dremel of that part of it is also? Oh, no. It's only teich benching. So, this is a new shaila. It's very interesting. I asked it to Rabbi Felder a few days ago. He said he has to bring rice.
A new shaila? People started sleeping
I know
only
the
now?
Sukkah doesn't talk about this. I don't know. I didn't see anyone talk about the shaila. So, Moshe Matrikap,
maybe the guy has to take you out, right? That goes to the other
Right,
side of
that
the
goes
guy
to the
fell
other
asleep, right?
Right, so anyone that wanted to answer me started getting in, okay, the guy's sleeping, you don't have to take out, this and that. The guy's almost sleeping. And should we tell him, until let's get into the sukkah? The whole suda is still eating out here fast to 8, and they're plopping over here. He has to be alone now in the sukkah. He's the Havayan, he falls asleep. Your wife's gonna get you good on that one. You're gonna be alone. You go to Gullus now. You dremel line, you go to Gullus. Now, it's a big shaila. If a guy falls asleep in the smash, you have to wake him up. Yes, that is a big shaila. But Akapanim, So,
During Sukkahs or after Sukkahs also?
oh no, during Sukkot. After Sukkot, let him sleep. The kids, so this is one child. Let me ask you another child. Let's say you did not eating a Suda. You're eating Ragalach in the Sukkah. Starts raining, you go right into the house. It stopped raining. Can I continue eating the Ragalach in the house? Well, let me give you a different case. Let's say you're supposed to do teal in the Sukkah. We explained, what does teal mean? Relaxing, reading a newspaper, yeah? You're chilling out, as we said, right? Now, so you start in your Sukkah, you're reading your TED, and you have the whole list. You have next is going to be Mediyah, the Ami, the Mishpacha, and then you get to the Lake Shmata, that's on the bottom. But besides for that, you just a good 2-3 hours of reading, right? Now, you go ahead until you realize that all this says the same thing, so you could have done it in 10 minutes. But your plan is now that if it's 2 hours, right? So you start off in the Sukkah, then you go and it started raining, you go back at the house, you're sitting on the couch with your feet up, and stop raining. Do I say, no, this is one long act of reading, I'm not leaving my couch, I'm not going into the Sukkah. So I asked you 3 questions with the rain story. One is, if the guy falls asleep in the middle of the Suda, do we say that that's one long Suda? Number 2 is, if he's eating Rogalach, do we say, once you went back into the house, you can continue eating pretzels out of the Sukkah, you stay out of the Sukkah even though it stopped raining. Number 3 is the newspaper. So I told you, I asked all these 3 questions to Rabbi Felder, and he said he does not know. He has to look into it and bring rayas. So Ramesh Matkap was here. Ramesh Matkap is from today, the Paiske Ada, the Talmud of Yashiv, a Masmer Otzim, Murder Talmud Chacham. So he was here in Lakewood for 2 days, and I went to visit him, and I asked him the Shalos. And he said that if you fall asleep in the middle of the Suda, you are not mechuyev to go. That's like Rabbi Black is saying, it's one Suda. And he had a tzad to say, even if you dremel in the second after the Suda, that's also not considered. And I told him I think things are very stark. I feel that sleeping, even if you want to call that it's not a hefsek, but sleeping is a new act. You can't say that since I have a heter to continue my Suda out of the Sukkah, that's part of the Suda. It's a new thing. You do it every single week, every single Shabbos day, you fall asleep in the middle of the Suda. That does not become part of the Suda. You do not have such a heter. Because that's now a new act. Really, you should be going into the Suda, into the Sukkah, in the middle of the Suda when it stopped raining. Chazal gave you a heter. But that does not stretch to sleeping. So too, I have very stark that, 1 second, so that's where I think is the one thing. The next thing he held, if you're eating ragalach out of the Sukkah, 1 second, Daniel. The next thing is, if you're eating ragalach out of the Sukkah, you have to go back and stop raining. You have to go back in because I need a kva. I need something that's considered that it's one act. Ragalach. If you eat pretzels, you eat it standing. You're walking here. The Suda, you sit down. So I sat down. Now in my bias, I'm not mechuyev to be matriach myself and go now into the Sukkah. But when I go ahead and I'm just eating ragalach, even though I'm sitting down, but you stand when you eat. You walk around. Therefore, you would be chayiv to go back into the Sukkah. Moshe Matkap argued on me. He said, no, over there also you're not mechuyev to. Because once I went in my house.
It's one act.
Yeah, it's one act, and therefore. So he's taking the lakula both ways. And he said by a newspaper.
You have a right from the karmic sausais. The karmic, you're not mechuyev to bring the karmic sausais back because even though, why can't you say it's another act, bring them back? Teretz is, that's
no,
too
because
much.
that's when I'm sleeping. When I went ahead, but if I'm going and eating and then sleeping, what shaykhs is one after the next. Therefore, I felt very strongly that to be machmir by both cases. If you're falling asleep in the middle of the Suda, make sure you do that in the Sukkah. If you go ahead and you're eating just ragalach, which is very normal to go back and forth, over there you would not have a heter, and that's what I came out la'alocha l'maisa.
Are children allowed to wake the father up if he's falling asleep?
Over there. So that's a good shayla b'chlal. The gabe HILCHOS kibbud avein. If a child is allowed to wake up the father, we never did that here. That's a very interesting.
No, but here's the shayla. He's being over surah possibly.
Oh, okay. So that's a big shayla. Let's say if there's HaRav, I have a deacon HaRav that says by kibbud avein that even if your father tells you to wake him up for mincha, let's say, whatever it is, and the son could tell the mother, but could tell someone else to wake him up, it might be better to have someone else wake him up. Because HaRav Pashas and Mashma, No one in the world likes the moment that he wants to be up. But the moment that you wake him, he's like, oh boy, what? I was in the middle of such a good sleep. That moment of tsar, even if your father wants you to wake him, if you can get someone else to wake him, it's better. Or if you can put an alarm clock to wake him, it's better. Over there, your father doesn't need you to wake him. Okay, I'm not going to excuse that. But like upon him, that's Bekitza Amaisa, and the should have a lichtige Yah, Shoshana, the guest the dag of Tshuva is Limit. The highest dag of Shavena of Inul Sayasach. So, Avada, without learning Musa, but when we're going ahead, and the Elam over here took on an L like this, the Mamish be Kaveh Itim. You people on a different level of Tshuva. It's unbelievable. What you did to go through a whole Zman of 4 weeks, you should be happy to walk into Shoshana and telling the Rebbeinu Shalom, yes, I was Mikabel. What was I Mikabel? I don't know if I did all the 20 dagas that the Rebbeinu Yana says in Shai Tshuva, the first Shah, but I know I was Kaveh Itim L'Tayra, and I sat in HaRav and I learned sugis that I never learned before, realized the schus, the opportunity he had, and the guest is that we have to have shleima, that he was misad such a thing. It's not easy to go ahead and take people and be kaveya. I know it doesn't grow with leaps and bounds, but it's the HILCHOS, it's the people that are here and they appreciate it, realize what type of schus you have, like a yid like a shleima, to go ahead and be misad such a thing. He moved out of the west side to come here just to be misad such a shit.
Everybody are partners here.
It doesn't make a difference. We recognize it.
He's a whole derech.
He's a HaRav. It's unbelievable.
Couldn't be done without everybody in
The
the room.
schusim are endless. Realize, don't take it lightly. The schusim, you come into a Shoshana with such a schus, should only be seen nachas from the children and the Einiklach.
Amen. Okay, everybody. So we'll see everybody. Tonight is Tuesday. We'll see everybody tomorrow morning.